Hello everybody, this is Kate at the Library of Whispers with another soft-spoken video, and I'm going to do a couple of different things tonight. It's actually quite late and so I'm having a coffee. This is a mint flavoured coffee, and I'm also going to have a little bit of yoghurt, which I have made myself in this nice pot. And I have a couple of nice smelling candles, although I've just noticed that this one's nearly all gone. At least the wax is nearly all gone. Smells really nice though. It's like a blackberry smell, which is good because my yoghurt is raspberries, blackberries, blueberries, red currants. Let's have a look. So try and open this without making too much noise. Got my spoon. Looks really nice. Should we have a taste? Okay. Let's try and get some with a bit of blackberry on. I'm going to have another taste because just as I tasted that, a car outside made a loud noise with its horn. It's always the way. Let's have a bit more. Very delicious. A bit more. Lovely. And I thought we could also have a look through some of my old magazines. Let's see. This one is from May 2007. So I'm going to move my yoghurt over there. I'll have a bit more in a minute. I'm going to take a sip of coffee. Oh, lovely. Minty. Let's have a look what we have in here. Now, it's quite an old magazine. DVDs. Don't know whether there's anything interesting in this one. Two widows skeleton in the cupboard. Books. Tracing your Yorkshire ancestors. Introducing family history. Need to know. Tracing your family history. Maps and web. problem with some of these older magazines. Pretty much when they suggesting an old website, chances are these websites don't exist anymore. At least not in this format anyway. What's this? Printers, typesetters and slugs. An image from the past. Mortarboard. She's wearing a mortarboard. Some kind of connection with the university. Okay, let's have a look at another one. And have a little bit of coffee. Finding family treasures. Family heirlooms. The National Archives. Buckinghamshire. Let's have a look what's on the back. There's a crossword. Don't know how good I am at crosswords. New books. Not so many interesting articles in that one. Let's have a look at this one. Life in the laundry. Tracing Welsh ancestors. That looks like Harlock. Causes of death. Death certificates. Ghostly footsteps. Let's have a look at this. First of all, I'm going to have a bit more of my yoghurt. Oh, it's delicious. A bit more. Okay. Let's have a read of this. Robin Verney Pierce traced a family ghost story to find a Welsh soldier who broke his mum's heart. There's nothing as scary as a ghost story, unless it's a ghost story about your own family. As a child, my father used to thrill me with old family stories about a boy who ran away from home, an estate in Chancery, a cobbler who made a fortune from ginger beer, and most exciting of all, the tale of a soldier's ghostly footsteps and the smile on a dead woman's face. Let's have some coffee. The story my father told began in Machynlleth in Wales in the 1800s, with the Pierce family gathered around the kitchen fire. A young boy, his parents and his uncles. Upstairs, the boy's grandmother was nearing death. Then, the silence of the night was broken by the sound of boots on the cobblestones, a soldier's boots, marching down the road towards the house. They stopped outside the door, which swung open, and the footsteps sounded on the kitchen floor, then up the stairs, behind the fireplace, but the family saw nothing. As the door slammed shut, the footsteps could be heard as they crossed the floor of the bedroom above the heads of the petrified group by the fire. Then they stopped. The old woman was heard to cry out in a joyous voice, "Will! Fac!" Then silence again. It was some time before they dared to go upstairs, but when they did, they found the old woman lying peacefully in her bed, with a smile on her face. She was dead. The only one of her sons not present was her eldest, William, who had joined the Redcoats to fight the French and never came home. But where had this family ghost story come from? Was there any truth in it? And could I trace the people mentioned? In the 1970s, my wife and I decided to trace our family trees. This was long before computers, and my natural starting point was with my father. His grandfather, David Pierce, died in 1913, 2 years before my father was born. Like his son, my grandfather, Edward, had been a Welsh Presbyterian minister. One other clue was a flimsy piece of paper with different bits of handwriting on it. At the top it said, Elias Pierce, shoemaker, Machynlleth, which immediately brought back the tale of the ghostly footsteps. It also had the names David and William in different handwriting and various bits of Welsh, including a verse. On the reverse was a list of names and dates of family births going back to the late 1700s. Then, as I began my search for my family roots, I was offered a job in Australia. We spent 5 years out there, but continued our research using local family history centres to view the International Genealogical Index on microfiche and getting help from people in the UK, including a very friendly librarian at the National Library of Wales. My research revealed that my grandfather, Edward Verney Pearce, was the son of the Reverend David Pearce, born in Machynlleth. The librarian unearthed an obituary for David Pearce in a Presbyterian magazine, identifying him as the grandson of John Pearce, leader of a Machynlleth nonconformist group. Then came the breakthrough. A local historian in Machynlleth heard of my search and offered to help. Bit more coffee, and I'm going to have a bit more yogurt actually before I carry on. This is so good. A bit more. Right, I think it's on the next page. Oh no. Here we go. A bit more coffee. Okay. Offered to help with parish register searches free of charge. He unearthed a family tree for Pearces going back in Machynlleth to the early 1700s. My great-grandfather David was one of the 4 sons of a shoemaker in Machynlleth called Elias Pearce. Elias was the son of John Pearce, a labourer, who married Elizabeth Elias. This John was a son of another John Pearce, a labourer, who had married Anne Morgan in Machynlleth in 1751. But there the line came to a halt, as no one knew where the first John Pearce was born. I now had Elias Pearce, my shoemaker, born 1793, but he was actually one of 6 sons born to John and Elizabeth. 2 died in infancy. Of the 4 not recorded as infant deaths, there was the youngest Thomas, who died in 1873. Elias, who died in 1850, an older brother John, with no local death recorded, and the eldest son born in 1784, William, with no local death recorded. Could this be William the soldier? The date seemed right. Britain was at war with France almost continuously, from 1793 until the Battle of Waterloo in 1815. But until 1808, most of the battles were at sea, and it was the start of the Peninsular War in 1808, when Napoleon moved on Spain and Portugal, that really saw the army come into its own. At that time, William would have been 24, a good age too. Okay, I've gone too far ahead. There we go. good age to join up and fight, especially if the family had many mouths to feed and not enough work to go around. Precious notebooks. In 1984 we returned to Wales and began the search again. My father now told me that after his own father's death, he had received some old notebooks written in Welsh, which had belonged to the Reverend David Pearce. My father had shown them to a Welsh-speaking friend who put Dad in touch with a university professor who borrowed them for research. Unfortunately, they had not been returned. We contacted the university and were told the books had been lodged in the university archives at Bangor. The archivist eventually accepted that they had only been on loan and agreed to return them to the family. When we collected them, we found the collection consisted of about a dozen notebooks, ranging from Victorian school exercise books and reporters' notepads to a couple of leather pocketbooks. There were also photographs of my grandfather and a Victorian-style picture of 3 people outside an old house, labelled in my grandfather's handwriting as aunt and uncle and nephew McKinliffe. My own Welsh was very rusty, but as I leafed through the books, they appeared to be sermons, verses and histories of Welsh preachers. Have a bit more coffee. Then I opened a black covered notebook, and on the first page I saw the words McKinliffe, Elias Pearce and John Pearce. The first part of the notebook was David Pearce's history of his family, written after his retirement as a preacher in the early 1900s, and beginning with his own birth in August 1831 in Machynlleth. To Anne Pearce, wife of Elias Pearce. I turned the page, and on the third page I saw the words, translated, William went to be a soldier in the war with France. With the aid of a big Welsh dictionary, I read my own great-grandfather's tale of his Uncle William. It told of William's decision to go to war and how his mother begged him not to go because he was her favourite son. William did leave, and his mother never smiled again, but cried for the son she last saw wearing his smart white breeches and red coat, marching off to war with his soldier's boots ringing on the cobbles. Then came the words. I'm not going to try and pronounce those because they're in Welsh, which was the beginning of the story, and the translation is, one night as they sat around the fire. It was all there. The old woman upstairs on her deathbed, grieving for her lost son William, the family around the fire, the sound of footsteps outside, and so on. Fond farewell. In the 20 years since first reading those words, I have searched the records to verify names and dates, a search speeded up in recent years thanks to the internet. I finally found William in the medal rolls at the National Archives, listed with the 28th foot as a holder of the Peninsula Medal with 4 clasps, which I believe to be Corunna, Barossa, Vimetro and Talavera. Sadly, once again the trail has gone cold, as I can find no record of William's death. Did he die during the Peninsular War, or at Waterloo, where the 28th Foot fought in the heat of the battle, or did he join the East India Company and go to Madras? The record shows that Elizabeth Pearce died in 1839, when my great-grandfather was about 8 years old, so his account of the ghost story was first-hand, even if he did write it years later. My great-grandfather firmly believed that his uncle's ghost had returned to bid farewell to his mother. Maybe. I half believe it myself, too. Interesting. Northumberland. Right, I'm going to have a bit more yogurt before I go. One more spoonful. Very nice. It's interesting. A flat iron stand. Gosh. Wash day blues. I might read this one day. Well, for now, let's have a bit more coffee. I'm going to say thank you so much for joining me this evening. This has been Kate at the Library of Whispers.